I believe it is better to learn in traditional classrooms for two main reasons. First, you can interact more naturally with the professor and the classmates when you attend a lesson in person. In a way, it provides a rich experience of synergy at university and allows you opportunities to develop your soft skills. The second reason is that when you go to a lesson in person, there will be less distractions. You will feel obligated to pay attention to what the professor is saying in order to enjoy the class as much as you can. If I were to take academic courses over the internet, I would be easily distracted by any pop-up message on the computer screen or even notifications on my cell phone.
The computer department is planning to offer evening classes in response to complaints about overcrowded daytime classes and a lack of available computers. Despite the added expense, they believe adding evening classes is the most cost-effective solution. The goal is to reduce the number of students in daytime classes and ensure all students have individual access to computers. The man in the dialogue is against this proposal. He argues that students are already busy at night as they have jobs, families, clubs, and social events in the evenings. He says that it costs money to hire more teachers and keep the academic building open. In his opinion, the university should only buy new computers because computer prices are much lower nowadays. Besides, they could install the new computers in the computer department classrooms as these rooms are very big. In the initial scenario recounted by the professor, he reminisces about an occasion when his esteemed uncle paid him a surprise visit. Upon opening the door and encountering his uncle, the professor's countenance brightened into a broad smile, expressing his genuine delight at the unexpected reunion. Verbalizing his astonishment at the visit and conveying heartfelt sentiments of appreciation, the professor's demeanor resonated with warmth. His wife astutely observed that his nonverbal cues, notably his eyes and smile, vividly reflected his profound joy in reuniting with his cherished uncle. Subsequently, the uncle himself acknowledged the palpable warmth of the reception, corroborating the harmonious alignment between verbal expressions and nonverbal signals. In the subsequent anecdote shared by the professor, he reflects on an instance involving his endeavor to instruct his 6-year-old daughter in the craft of constructing a birdhouse. However, the instructional session took an unforeseen turn when the professor inadvertently struck his thumb with a hammer, eliciting a pained reaction. Despite his physical discomfort, the professor endeavored to reassure his daughter of his well-being, though his trembling hands and contorted facial expressions betrayed the intensity of his anguish. His daughter, perceptive to the incongruity between his verbal assurances and nonverbal cues, persistently sought clarification on his condition, evidencing a lack of alignment between the intended verbal communication and the inadvertent nonverbal signals conveyed by the professor's distress. The professor asserts that effective communication in art, whether appealing to emotions or intellect, necessitates the integration of various visual elements to convey meaning or sentiment. These components, such as color, texture, shape, and lines, collectively inform viewers about the artwork. Artists manipulate these elements to convey messages or evoke moods. For instance, color selection can evoke specific emotions, with red symbolizing intense feelings, while blue offers a calming effect. Texture, whether physical or visual, also plays a crucial role in art, with rough textures often evoking strength and emotion, while smoother textures tend to be more tranquil. Combining elements such as strong colors and broad brushstrokes can evoke a sense of chaos, while softer colors and finer brushstrokes convey serenity. Artists leverage these visual effects to imbue their work with significance and engage the senses of the observer. I concur with the assertion positing the heightened significance of the study of mathematics or science. In terms of professional acclaim, individuals engaged in disciplines associated with mathematics typically command augmented remuneration, thereby attaining elevated social standing. Moreover, students electing to pursue vocations in mathematics or science are prone to a greater likelihood of securing scholarships for tertiary education, contingent upon their distinguished scholastic performance during secondary schooling. A tangible illustration of this phenomenon is exemplified by my sibling. Throughout her secondary education, she notably distinguished herself by clinching victory in 3 distinct mathematical competitions. Subsequently, upon embarking on her collegiate journey, She was presented with two compelling offers from esteemed institutions of higher learning, each accompanied by a full scholarship grant. Beginning this year, the University Dining Hall will become the campus dining club for 1 week at each semester's end. Culinary arts students will prepare special meals, offering valuable experience for their future careers. A small fee will be charged to cover gourmet ingredients. The guy in the conversation thinks it's a fantastic idea. He reckons it'll be a real boon for students in the program. His cousin did it a while back and said, cooking for a big crowd is a whole different ballgame compared to cooking for classmates in a relaxed setting. In class, you've got all the time in the world. But when you're cooking for a bunch of hungry folks, it's a different story. You're rushing, people are waiting, and stress levels are high, making slip-ups more likely. But he's optimistic about the outcome. He believes the meals will be top-notch and way cheaper than fancy restaurants, so paying a bit extra is totally worth it for restaurant-quality grub. Target marketing is a strategic advertising approach aimed at tailoring marketing messages to specific demographic groups or market segments. In the professor's examples, the company promotes the same cell phone differently based on the audience watching particular television programs. For instance, during shows targeting young people, the commercial highlights the phone's vibrant colors and fun features, appealing to their desire for enjoyment and social connection. Conversely, during programs appealing to business professionals, the focus shifts to the phone's efficiency and its ability to streamline business tasks, addressing the needs and priorities of this audience. This technique leverages the understanding that different consumer groups have distinct preferences, values, and interests. By crafting customized messages, the company maximizes the relevance and appeal of its product to each target demographic. This personalized approach enhances the likelihood of capturing the attention and interest of potential customers within diverse market segments, ultimately driving sales and fostering brand loyalty. In essence, target marketing allows companies to effectively communicate the benefits of their product or service to specific audiences, acknowledging and catering to the unique needs and motivations of each group. By adapting their messaging to resonate with different segments of the market, businesses can optimize their advertising efforts and maximize their return on investment. In understanding human behavior, psychologists delve into the realm of motivation, exploring what drives us to act in certain ways. Motivation can be broadly categorized into two distinct types: extrinsic and intrinsic. Extrinsic motivation stems from external factors, such as tangible rewards or praise. For instance, imagine a child who completes chores not out of enjoyment, but because they know they'll receive money for their efforts. However, the sustainability of extrinsic motivation is precarious. If the external rewards cease, so does the motivation to continue the behavior. On the other hand, intrinsic motivation arises from internal satisfaction or enjoyment derived from an activity. Take the example of someone who frequents the gym purely for personal fulfillment and well-being, rather than for any external goal like training for a race. They find joy and energy in the exercise itself, fostering a lasting commitment driven by internal gratification. While both types of motivation can propel behavior, intrinsic motivation tends to endure longer, as it's rooted in personal satisfaction rather than external reinforcement. This distinction highlights the complex interplay between external incentives and internal desires in shaping human actions. Both approaches, having one career throughout life or pursuing different kinds of work, are valid, each with its benefits. Sticking to one career can provide deep expertise, stability, and a clear career trajectory. On the other hand, trying different careers can lead to diverse experiences, skill development, and a broader perspective on life. It ultimately depends on personal preferences, goals, and circumstances. Some thrive in the consistency of one career, while others find fulfillment in exploring various paths. What's essential is finding a balance that aligns with individual passions, values, and aspirations, fostering both personal growth and professional satisfaction. The proposal outlined in the letter suggests shortening the duration of history seminars from 3 hours to 2 hours. Tim Lawson, the author of the proposal, argues that most students struggle to concentrate for the full 3 hours and find the third hour to be unproductive. He believes that shorter seminars would be more efficient. However, the woman who disagrees with Tim's proposal presents a contrasting viewpoint. She asserts that Tim's experience and habits are not representative of the typical student body. While Tim may struggle to stay engaged due to his lifestyle choices, she suggests that most students come to class prepared and rested, capable of concentrating for the full 3 hours. Furthermore, she contends that the last hour of seminars often provides the most valuable and engaging discussions. In her experience, this is when students become deeply involved in exchanging important ideas, making it a crucial part of the learning experience. Ultimately, the woman opposes the proposal because she believes it would deprive students of the opportunity to engage fully in seminar discussions and potentially diminish the overall quality of the learning experience. Implicit memory refers to memories that we acquire and retain unconsciously. Unlike explicit memories, which we can consciously recall and describe, implicit memories influence our behaviors and preferences without our conscious awareness. An excellent illustration of implicit memory can be found in advertising. Imagine you're driving along a highway and see a billboard for a car called Panther. The billboard prominently displays a picture of the car and its name in large letters. Later, if someone asks you if you saw any car advertisements, you might say no because you don't consciously remember the billboard. However, if asked to name an animal starting with the letter P, you're more likely to say panther instead of the more common pig. This happens because, even though you don't consciously remember the advertisement, it has been recorded in your brain and influences your response. This example shows how implicit memory works by affecting your thoughts and behaviors without your conscious recall of the experience. One crucial aspect of teaching is keeping your students' attention, and understanding the concept of attention is key to achieving this. There are 2 types of attention, active and passive. Active attention is voluntary and requires effort. For example, if you're teaching a biology class about frogs by simply lecturing, students will try to focus, but it's challenging to maintain this attention for long periods. They may start to get distracted after a while because active attention is hard to sustain. On the other hand, passive attention is involuntary and happens naturally. If something is genuinely interesting, students will pay attention without trying. Imagine during the same biology class, you pull out a live frog and demonstrate its features. By doing something unexpected and engaging, you tap into their passive attention. This type of attention can last much longer because the students are naturally interested. In summary, while active attention requires effort and is hard to maintain, passive attention happens naturally when something is engaging and can be sustained for longer periods. As teachers, using engaging and unexpected methods can effectively capture and keep students' attention. I prefer to explore new places on my own rather than taking an organized tour. One reason is the freedom it offers. I can set my own pace and choose the destinations that interest me the most without being bound by a fixed schedule. This flexibility allows for spontaneous discoveries and deeper engagement with the local culture. Additionally, exploring independently often leads to unique and personal experiences that wouldn't be possible on a structured tour. Whether it's stumbling upon a hidden cafe or striking up a conversation with a local, these moments create lasting memories that make my travels more enriching and enjoyable. Professor Fox has been appointed as the new Dean of Students, bringing her organizational skills and ability to work well with students, demonstrated in her roles as head of the philosophy department and head women's soccer coach. The woman is strongly against Professor Fox's new position. She argues that Professor Fox struggles with organization, citing a failure to manage teaching assistants and paperwork for a philosophy course in Europe. Additionally, she criticizes Professor Fox's harsh coaching style and lack of empathy, sharing an instance where Professor Fox was unsupportive to a friend in need of emotional support. The woman believes these traits make Professor Fox unsuitable for the role of Dean of Students, as students seek understanding and support from the dean, not criticism. A critical period is a specific window of time during which an organism must receive certain environmental inputs to develop normally. For instance, in kittens, this period lasts the first 4 months of life, during which they need exposure to light for their vision to develop correctly. If kittens aren't exposed to light during this time, their eyesight won't develop properly, and they will never be able to see well, even if exposed to light later on. Similarly, in baby geese, there's a critical period within the first 2 days of life. During this time, they must see a parent figure to learn whom to follow. If a baby goose sees a dog instead of its parent, it will adopt the dog as its parent and follow it around for life. Even if the actual parent goose appears later, the baby goose will continue to follow the dog because the behavior is fixed after this critical period. These examples illustrate that the critical period is essential for the normal development of certain physical attributes and behaviors, and missing this window can lead to permanent developmental issues. In the professor's lecture, the legality of exaggeration in advertising is discussed using a vacuum cleaner example to illustrate the point. Exaggeration in advertising is acceptable in the United States as long as it is so extreme that no reasonable person would believe it literally. For example, a TV commercial showing a vacuum cleaner floating in the air while cleaning the house is legal because it's clearly impossible, and no one would actually expect the vacuum to float. This kind of exaggeration grabs attention without misleading consumers. On the other hand, a commercial showing a vacuum cleaner perfectly cleaning a very dirty carpet in just a few seconds might be illegal. Although it's an exaggeration, it's not extreme enough. People might realistically believe that the vacuum cleaner could perform as depicted and buy it based on this false expectation. When the vacuum fails to deliver the exaggerated performance, consumers could feel misled. Therefore, the law requires that any exaggeration used in advertising must be so outrageous that it is obvious no one would take it literally. This distinction ensures that while advertisers can use hyperbole to catch attention, they cannot deceive consumers with claims that might be reasonably believed. In my spare time, I prefer reading books over watching movies or television. Books offer a unique, immersive experience that allows me to use my imagination and engage with the story on a deeper level. I can explore different worlds, understand diverse perspectives, and develop a strong emotional connection with the characters. Reading also helps improve my concentration and critical thinking skills. Unlike television or movies, I can set my own pace with a book, pausing to reflect on the narrative or rereading sections that particularly resonate with me. For these reasons, reading is my preferred way to spend my leisure time. The Recreational Services Department plans to use special funding from this year's budget to increase the number of exercise machines in the campus gym. This decision comes in response to student complaints about the insufficient number of machines and is aimed at accommodating the growing student population. Recreational Services believe that more exercise machines will encourage students to exercise and promote a healthier lifestyle. The woman, however, disagrees with this plan. She feels that the current gym facilities are sufficient, as she has never had to wait to use the exercise bikes or weight machines despite the gym being busy. She also points out that the campus already offers a variety of exercise options, including exercise programs, a swimming pool, running paths, and sports teams. She believes that adding more machines to the gym won't significantly impact students' fitness habits since there are already plenty of ways to exercise on campus. In ecosystems, all species interact and contribute to overall stability, but some species, known as keystone species, play a critical role in maintaining the structure of their habitat. Elephants are a prime example of a keystone species in the African grasslands. Without elephants, these grasslands can transform dramatically into forests. This change occurs because elephants consume or trample the sprouting shrubs and trees, preventing them from growing to maturity. If elephants were absent, these plants would grow into trees, shading out the grasses that many other species depend on for food. Consequently, when the grasses disappear, the animals that rely on them must leave, and new species that thrive in forests move in, altering the entire ecosystem. Thus, the presence of elephants is crucial for maintaining the grassland environment and supporting the diversity of species that live there, highlighting their role as a keystone species. As writers, you want the dialogue in your story to have impact. There are many ways to achieve that, but today I'm going to talk about two powerful techniques: exaggeration and understatement. Though they are opposites, both can create emphasis and make your dialogue more engaging. First, let's look at exaggeration. This is when your characters describe things or their feelings as more extreme than they really are to emphasize a point. For instance, imagine your main character returns from a long walk and is very tired. She could simply say, "Boy, I'm tired." But if she says, "I can't take another step," The exaggeration makes her fatigue more vivid and dramatic to the reader. On the other hand, understatement can also create emphasis, but it does so by saying less than what is meant. This might sound paradoxical, but it can be very effective. For example, the professor in the lecture has a friend called Ed who is an exceptional cook. After enjoying a delicious meal he prepared, instead of saying, "This food is really great, Ed," the professor said, "This food's not bad, Ed." By understating, she conveyed her high praise more subtly and memorably. In your writing, using exaggeration can make emotions and actions feel larger than life, while understatement can add nuance and sophistication to your dialogue. Both techniques help you emphasize key points and keep your readers engaged. While both family members and friends play crucial roles in shaping young adults, I believe family members are the most important influence. Family provides the foundational values and support system that shape a young person's character and decision-making skills. From a young age, parents and close relatives instill morals, cultural beliefs, and life skills that become the bedrock of an individual's identity. This consistent guidance and unconditional support often serve as a stabilizing force, helping young adults navigate the complexities of life. Friends are certainly influential, offering social experiences and peer support, but the foundational impact of family is unparalleled in fostering long-term growth and resilience. I'd like to discuss the new policy from the Business Studies Department at State University, which now requires all students to complete a semester of work experience. One student has expressed disagreement with this policy. She believes it will not actually benefit students in the ways the university intends. Firstly, she argues that the work experience will not help students develop leadership and organizational skills as promised. Based on her brother's experience, such positions often involve basic, menial tasks like typing and filing, rather than meaningful work that would foster these skills. Secondly, she disputes the idea that this work experience will help secure permanent employment post-graduation. She points out that many other universities in the area have similar requirements, leading to an oversaturation of students in these roles. Consequently, once students graduate, the competition for full-time jobs will be intense, and there won't be enough positions available for all business graduates in the city. In summary, she believes the new work experience requirement is unlikely to provide the intended benefits and may even hinder students' job prospects after graduation. An establishing shot is a fundamental technique in filmmaking, employed at the beginning of a scene to provide context and background information. The lecturer described a scene from a movie that started with an image of a city. This image, taken from afar, showcased tall buildings and old-fashioned cars, indicating a big city from the 1940s. The scene was dark, with minimal light from street lamps, rain, and fog, creating a gloomy and mysterious atmosphere. This establishing shot served multiple purposes. Firstly, it set the scene, informing viewers that the upcoming action took place in a 1940s city. Secondly, it established the mood, suggesting that the events would be dark and mysterious. By providing this context, the establishing shot allowed viewers to better understand and anticipate the characters' actions and the unfolding narrative. Thus, an establishing shot is crucial in film for setting the stage and mood, ensuring the audience is well-oriented and engaged with the story. In a recent biology lecture, the professor explained that plants have developed various methods to protect themselves from insects. One of the methods is physical defense, exemplified by the passion plant. The professor mentioned that the passion plant's leaves are covered with numerous tiny spiky hairs, creating a dense surface that prevents insects from landing on them. As a result, insects are unable to land and eat the leaves, effectively protecting the plant. The professor also discussed chemical defenses, using the potato plant as an example. According to the lecture, when an insect starts eating a potato plant's leaf, the plant releases a chemical throughout its leaf system. This chemical makes the insect feel full, causing it to stop eating. By emitting this chemical, the potato plant discourages insects from consuming its leaves, thereby defending itself from potential damage. Overall, the professor emphasized that these strategies, physical barriers in the passion plant and chemical deterrents in the potato plant, are effective ways that plants have evolved to protect themselves from insect predation. I strongly agree that all children should be required to learn a second language in school. Firstly, Learning a second language enhances cognitive development. Studies have shown that bilingual children have better problem-solving skills, improved memory, and greater multitasking abilities. Secondly, in our increasingly globalized world, being bilingual opens up more career opportunities. Employers highly value multilingual employees for their ability to communicate with diverse clients and navigate different cultural contexts. Lastly, learning a second language fosters cultural awareness and empathy. It allows children to understand and appreciate different cultures, which is essential for promoting global harmony. For example, a student who learns Spanish not only gains linguistic skills, but also insights into Hispanic cultures, enriching their worldview. Therefore, mandatory second language education equips children with vital skills for personal and professional success. Paul Sands proposed displaying student artwork in the lobby at the entrance to the Student Center, citing high foot traffic and abundant natural light as benefits. However, Mary, an art student, disagrees with this idea. She argues that the Student Center is too crowded, making it difficult for people to appreciate the artwork amidst the constant movement and distractions. Additionally, Mary points out that the natural light from the glass windows is inconsistent and can be either too bright or too dim, whereas controlled, consistent lighting from electric bulbs, as used in art museums, would be more suitable for displaying artwork effectively.
Entertainment merchandising is a marketing strategy where a brand or image from one product is used to sell another. The article discusses this concept broadly, especially in relation to movies and television shows for children. In the lecture, the professor provided personal examples that illustrate this practice effectively. When the professor was a child, there was a popular TV show called Action Hero. The show's popularity led to the creation and widespread sale of action hero toys. The kids who watched the show naturally wanted to own the toys, demonstrating how the TV show drove toy sales. Conversely, the professor mentioned his daughter's favorite toy, Rosa, a doll that became the main character in a new TV show. This example shows the reverse, a toy becoming the basis for a television show, which then boosts the toy's popularity. Both examples clearly illustrate how entertainment merchandising works by leveraging a successful product in one medium to boost sales and engagement in another. Based on the lecture, researchers believe that babies may feel empathy due to an intriguing experiment involving recordings of crying. Initially, researchers played a tape of other babies crying to a test baby, who then started crying as well. This reaction was expected and attributed to the distressing noise. However, in the next part of the experiment, when the baby was played a tape of his own crying, he did not cry. This suggests that the noise itself wasn't the distressing factor, since the baby remained calm despite the noise being just as loud. Researchers inferred that the baby's reaction to other babies' cries might stem from a feeling of empathy rather than a response to the noise. Therefore, the difference in the baby's reaction implies that babies could be capable of feeling concern for others, indicating the presence of empathy.
I believe parents should exercise control over the television programs their children watch. Children's minds are highly impressionable, and not all content is suitable for their age and development. Unrestricted access to television can expose them to inappropriate language, violence, and concepts beyond their comprehension. Parental guidance ensures that children consume educational and age-appropriate content that fosters learning and positive behavior. Additionally, it helps in setting boundaries and instilling discipline regarding screen time, which is crucial for their overall well-being. Therefore, parental control over television viewing is essential to protect and nurture children's mental and emotional health. The girl believes the college's plan to renovate the dormitories is a mistake. She gives two main reasons for her opinion. First, she points out that the construction, which will last for 2 years, will create significant noise and disruption, making it difficult for students who are trying to sleep or study. This inconvenience will likely push even more students to move off campus, worsening the current trend. Second, she mentions that the cost of campus housing will increase to fund the renovations. As a result, students might find off-campus housing more affordable, making them less likely to return to the dorms even after the improvements are completed.
Henry Darger is considered an outsider artist because he lived and worked completely outside of conventional society and the established art world. He had no formal artistic training and worked in total isolation in his small Chicago apartment. His art was never seen by others during his lifetime, which means he had no influence from other artists or critics. Darger's unique methods and the distinctive appearance of his work further exemplify his outsider status. For instance, he struggled with drawing human figures and ingeniously solved this by cutting out pictures from newspapers and magazines and integrating them into his watercolor paintings. His works are characterized by a highly detailed and crowded style, with every inch of the surface covered, unlike more traditional artworks. His long, 9-foot paintings are another testament to his unconventional approach, making his work easily recognizable and distinctly his own. Unity and contrast are key principles in interior design that balance consistency and variety to create effective designs. Unity involves creating a cohesive look by using similar elements. For example, you can match colors throughout a room, using light green for the walls, a darker green for the sofa fabric, and a matching green for the rug. This creates a unified space that feels orderly and comfortable. However, too much unity can make a room feel monotonous. To avoid this, contrast is introduced to add interest and excitement. Contrast is the intentional use of different elements to break up the unity. For instance, placing bright red cushions on a dark green sofa creates a striking visual contrast, making the green appear more vibrant and adding depth to the room. In summary, unity brings harmony and order, while contrast adds variety and intrigue. A well-designed room balances these two principles, avoiding both monotony and chaos to create an engaging and comfortable environment. I believe it is essential for a person's education to learn to play a musical instrument. Music education offers numerous benefits beyond just learning to play. It enhances cognitive skills, such as memory, attention, and problem-solving. Playing an instrument also fosters discipline, patience, and perseverance, as mastering it requires consistent practice and effort. Moreover, it encourages creativity and self-expression, providing a healthy emotional outlet. While not everyone may become a professional musician, the skills and experiences gained through music education can positively impact many aspects of one's life and overall development. The woman supports the proposal for expanding the college radio station because she believes it will achieve the university's goals of attracting more students to the communication program and providing an extra source of revenue. She points out that currently, the station's limited range restricts its audience to the campus, resulting in fewer programs and limited professional experience for students. Expanding the broadcasting range would allow for more diverse programming and reach a larger real-life audience, offering students valuable hands-on experience. Additionally, she shares an example from another university, where a similar expansion led to financial success through increased commercial revenue, which was then used for scholarships and facility improvements. Thus, she is confident that the proposal will benefit both the students and the university. Subliminal perception refers to the phenomenon where stimuli are perceived by our senses, but do not reach the level of conscious awareness. This means that an image or sound might be detected by our brains without us being consciously aware of it. Experiments have demonstrated that these subliminally perceived stimuli can influence our thoughts and attitudes. In the lecture, the professor describes an experiment where participants watched TV while a picture briefly flashed on the screen, so quickly that they were not consciously aware of seeing it. The picture showed a boy with a birthday cake, either angry and throwing the cake or happy and offering it. Later, both groups viewed a neutral image of the boy holding the cake without any noticeable emotion. When asked to describe the boy's personality, participants who saw the angry boy earlier described him negatively, while those who saw the happy boy described him positively. This experiment illustrates subliminal perception by showing how the subliminal images influence the participants' perceptions and evaluations of the boy, despite them not being consciously aware of having seen the initial images. Substitute goods and complement goods play significant roles in influencing the demand for a particular product. substitute goods are products that can be used interchangeably, like butter and margarine. When the price of butter rises, people tend to buy margarine instead, increasing the demand for margarine. This is because consumers look for more affordable alternatives when the price of one product goes up. On the other hand, complement goods are products that are used together, such as compact discs and CD players. The demand for these products is interdependent. If the price of CDs increases, the demand for CDs will decrease, and consequently, the demand for CD players will also decline. This is because the usability of one product is directly linked to the availability of the other. Thus, an increase in the price of a complement good results in a decrease in demand for both related products. In summary, substitute goods see an increase in demand when the price of a similar product rises, whereas complement goods experience a decrease in demand for both products when the price of one increases. I prefer to get my information mainly from printed materials, such as books and academic journals. Printed sources are often more reliable and thoroughly vetted compared to many online sources. Books and academic journals undergo rigorous peer review and editorial processes, ensuring that the information is accurate and credible. Additionally, printed materials provide comprehensive and in-depth coverage of topics, which is beneficial for research projects. While the internet is convenient for quick references and recent updates, the depth and reliability of printed sources make them my preferred choice for thorough and trustworthy research. The woman expresses a negative opinion about the university's plan to build a new stadium. She believes the $2 million could be better spent elsewhere to attract top students and improve the university. Her first reason is that the campus has outdated science laboratories, a library lacking sufficient books, and a small student center. She argues that these issues are more critical to attracting high-caliber students than a new stadium. Additionally, she is skeptical that a larger stadium will improve relations with the town, noting that town residents rarely attend games due to the poor performance of the university's sports teams. She contends that simply increasing the seating capacity won't attract more community members to the games. Perceptual constancy is the ability to perceive objects as unchanging despite changes in sensory input. The professor illustrates this with two examples. First, he describes a round plate viewed directly as a circle. When tilted, the plate appears oval-shaped, but we still recognize it as the same circular plate. This shows shape constancy. Second, he explains how he looks larger when seen from the front row and smaller from the back row of the classroom. Despite this difference in apparent size, students understand he remains the same size. This demonstrates size constancy. These examples highlight how perceptual constancy helps us recognize objects consistently, regardless of changes in perspective or distance. In the lecture, the professor describes two kinds of camouflage using the examples of the leafy sea dragon and the cuttlefish. The leafy sea dragon has a fixed type of camouflage, where its shape and color permanently resemble green sea plants. This helps it blend in with its specific environment, making it difficult for predators to spot it among the vegetation. However, its camouflage is only effective in environments with green plants. On the other hand, the cuttlefish has a dynamic type of camouflage. It can change its color rapidly to match its surroundings, thanks to shifting pigments in its skin. This ability allows the cuttlefish to blend into various environments, whether it ayure TM's green sea plants or the brown seafloor. This adaptability provides the cuttlefish with more mobility and protection across different habitats. When unexpectedly receiving a large amount of money, it's better to strike a balance between practicality and pleasure. Prioritizing practical spending, such as paying off debts, investing in education, or saving for the future, ensures long-term financial stability and security. These actions can provide peace of mind and open opportunities for future growth. However, it's also important to allocate a portion of the money for enjoyment. Spending on experiences or items that bring joy can improve overall well-being and create lasting memories. Ultimately, a balanced approach allows one to secure their financial future while also savoring the present. The man believes that the suggestions made in the letter by Megan Finch will not significantly improve the situation at the health center. He provides two main reasons for his opinion. First, the man argues that the health center is too small to accommodate more doctors. He points out that without additional treatment rooms or office space, Simply hiring more doctors will not be effective because there would not be enough physical space for them to work and see patients. Second, regarding the suggestion to open the health center on weekends, the man notes that many students are not on campus during weekends as they often leave town or go home. Consequently, he believes that extending the health center's hours to weekends would not address the wait time issue effectively since the demand for medical services would likely be low during those times. Social loafing is a phenomenon where individuals put in less effort when working in a group compared to when they work alone. This happens because people feel less accountable for the group's output. The lecture provided a clear example of this with a study on potato peeling. In the study, participants were divided into two groups, one working alone and the other working in groups. Those working alone knew their individual output would be recorded, while those in groups were told only the total group output would be recorded, making individual contributions anonymous. The results showed that individuals working alone peeled more potatoes on average than those working in groups. This demonstrates that when people don't feel personally accountable, they tend to reduce their effort, which is the essence of social loafing. In the lecture, the concept of locus of control was discussed, which is a psychological term that refers to where people perceive the control over their lives originates. This perception influences whether they believe their lives are controlled internally by themselves or externally by outside forces. Firstly, individuals who believe that they control their own destiny are identified as internals. They attribute their successes or failures to their own efforts and abilities. For example, an internal going for a job interview believes that her success hinges on how well she prepares and performs. If she secures the job, she credits her hard work. If not, she considers it a reflection of her own shortcomings and looks for ways to improve. Conversely, externals believe that their lives are primarily influenced by external circumstances beyond their control, such as luck or other people's actions. In the case of a job interview, an external candidate might think the outcome depends more on the interviewer's mood or other serendipitous factors rather than his own qualifications or performance. If he is hired, he might attribute it to good luck or favorable conditions. If rejected, he is likely to blame the interviewers or bad luck instead of his own preparation or abilities. Thus, the locus of control fundamentally affects how individuals perceive and react to life's events, shaping their motivations, expectations, and behaviors in various situations. I would prefer to live with roommates. Living with roommates offers several advantages that make the experience more enjoyable and beneficial. Firstly, it provides a sense of companionship, which can be comforting and help reduce feelings of loneliness, especially when moving to a new place or starting college. Secondly, roommates can share household responsibilities, making it easier to manage chores and maintain a clean living environment. Additionally, living with roommates can be more cost-effective, as expenses like rent, utilities, and groceries can be divided, reducing the financial burden. Finally, having roommates can lead to the development of lasting friendships and valuable social interactions, enriching my overall living experience. The woman expresses her disagreement with the university's plan to build new student apartments off campus. She believes it doesn't make sense for a couple of key reasons. Firstly, she argues that it won't solve the issue of parking and traffic. She points out that students will still need to drive to campus for classes, which might even increase traffic and parking problems. Secondly, she is concerned about the impact on students' involvement in campus life. She feels that living off campus would reduce the time students spend participating in campus activities, clubs, shows, and discussions, which are crucial for a rich college experience. She emphasizes the importance of being on campus to fully engage with the university community and take advantage of all it offers. The reading passage discusses the actor-observer bias, which explains how people attribute their own behavior to situational factors, but attribute others' behavior to their character. The professor's examples illustrate this bias. In the first example, when someone cuts in front of the professor in line, the professor immediately assumes the person is rude and inconsiderate. This aligns with the observer perspective, focusing on the individual's character rather than considering situational factors that might have influenced the behavior. In contrast, in the second example, when the professor himself cuts in line due to being in a hurry for an important meeting, he justifies his action by the situation, not considering himself rude. This demonstrates the actor perspective, attributing one's own behavior to external circumstances. These examples highlight the fundamental difference in how we perceive our own actions versus the actions of others, reinforcing the actor-observer bias concept. Learning art can significantly impact a child's development in two main ways: by providing a platform to express complex emotions and by encouraging persistence. As the professor mentioned, young children often have a limited vocabulary and may struggle to communicate their feelings. Art offers an alternative means of expression. For example, a child might draw a picture of herself jumping next to her bike, with raised arms and a big smile, to convey pride. This visual representation allows children to express emotions more effectively than words might. Additionally, learning art encourages persistence. The professor explained how engaging in art projects requires patience and repeated efforts to achieve a desired outcome. A boy trying to mold clay into a car may fail several times, but learns to keep trying until he succeeds. This process teaches him the value of hard work and perseverance. These skills are transferable to other areas of life, helping children understand that persistence can lead to success in various activities and challenges. When it comes to working on class assignments, I prefer to work in a group. This preference stems from several benefits that group work offers. Firstly, collaboration enhances learning through the exchange of diverse ideas and perspectives. Each group member can bring unique insights and solutions to the table, which might not occur in solitary settings. This diversity in thought often leads to more creative and comprehensive outcomes. Secondly, working in a group helps develop important interpersonal skills like communication, conflict resolution, and teamwork. These are critical skills not only in academic settings, but also in professional environments. Being able to effectively work with others is a valuable asset in any career. Lastly, group work can be more motivating than working alone. The shared goals and mutual support can drive members to stay on task and encourage one another, which can be especially beneficial when dealing with challenging or extensive assignments. While group work does have its challenges, such as coordinating schedules or managing differing work ethics, the benefits of enhanced learning, skill development, and motivation make it my preferred choice for completing class assignments. The woman strongly disagrees with the university's decision to eliminate hot breakfasts. She believes the change is unreasonable and argues that the health benefits they claim are misleading. According to her, whether a breakfast item is healthy depends on its nutritional content, not whether it is hot or cold. She points out that hot foods like omelets and hot cereal can be healthier and more suitable, especially on cold mornings. Additionally, she is concerned about the financial impact on students. She thinks that limiting breakfast options to cold items will push students to eat off campus, which will be more expensive in the long run. Cognitive dissonance is the mental discomfort individuals feel when their actions contradict their beliefs. In the reading, it's explained that people often resolve this discomfort not by changing their actions, but by altering their interpretation of the situation to reduce the contradiction. The professor's personal example illustrates this. He was addicted to video games and failing chemistry, which conflicted with his belief that he needed to do well in school to have a good career. Instead of quitting video games, he redefined his belief about what it meant to do well in school. He convinced himself that excelling in chemistry wasn't necessary for his future career as a sociologist. By changing his perspective, he minimized the conflict and reduced his cognitive dissonance. In advertising, persuasive strategies are often employed to make products seem more appealing than they might actually be. The professor provided two key examples. First, repetition is used to reinforce a message. For instance, a car commercial might repeatedly state "plenty of room" to make viewers believe the car is spacious, even if it appears small. This constant repetition makes people accept the idea as true. Second, celebrity endorsements are used to create trust and appeal. When a famous race car driver endorses a car by saying he likes fast cars, viewers are likely to believe the car is fast and impressive, even if it's not. These strategies leverage repeated messaging and the credibility of admired figures to persuade consumers. I strongly agree that it is important to learn about other cultures. Understanding different cultures fosters empathy and respect, which are essential for living in a diverse world. For example, learning about traditions and customs from various cultures can break down stereotypes and reduce prejudice. It also enhances communication skills, making it easier to connect with people from different backgrounds in both personal and professional settings. Furthermore, experiencing cultural diversity can inspire creativity and innovation by exposing individuals to new ideas and perspectives. Overall, cultural awareness enriches our lives and promotes a more harmonious and inclusive society. The article announces that the university choir will start participating in off-campus singing competitions next year. The choir's new director believes that these competitions will enhance the choir's performance quality and improve the university's music program's reputation, which could lead to the program's growth. The man, who is a choir member, supports this change. He agrees with the director's view that competitions will motivate the choir members to work harder and improve their skills. He mentions that competing against other schools will likely lead to more frequent rehearsals and better performances. Additionally, he hopes that participating in off-campus events will attract new students to the university's music program, as the choir's public performances might encourage more talented individuals to join. Relict behavior refers to actions or traits in animals that were once crucial for their survival in a different habitat, but no longer serve a clear purpose in the present environment. An example of this is the American pronghorn. Pronghorns are extremely fast, the fastest animals in the Western Hemisphere, which help them escape predators like lions that lived on the North American plains tens of thousands of years ago. Although lions are now extinct in North America, and present-day predators like bobcats and coyotes can't catch the pronghorn's speed remains. This unnecessary speed is a relict behavior, a leftover trait from an earlier time when it was essential for survival. The characteristics of target customers, specifically age and geographic location, play a crucial role in shaping a company's marketing strategy. Firstly, considering age, the lecture provides the example of a company that makes toy cars. The target customers for toy cars are kids. To effectively reach these customers, the company would advertise during children's television shows when kids are most likely to be watching TV. This strategy ensures that the advertisements are seen by the intended audience, increasing the likelihood of children wanting the toy cars and asking their parents to buy them. Secondly, geographic location is another critical characteristic. The lecture mentions a company that manufactures boats. The target customers for boats are people living near oceans or lakes, where boats are practical and useful. To reach these customers, the company would place advertisements in areas close to bodies of water, such as on roadside signs or local television in those regions. This targeted approach ensures that the advertisements reach people who are more likely to be interested in buying boats. In summary, understanding and leveraging the age and geographic location of target customers allows companies to place advertisements where they will be most effective, thereby maximizing the chances of reaching potential buyers and increasing sales. Advancements in technology have significantly impacted my life, particularly as a student. The proliferation of digital learning tools, such as online courses and educational platforms, has revolutionized how I access and assimilate information. For instance, platforms like Coursera and Khan Academy provide a wealth of resources that complement my traditional classroom learning. Additionally, collaborative tools like Google Docs and Zoom facilitate seamless group projects and virtual study sessions, fostering a more interactive and engaging learning environment. These technologies have enhanced my academic performance by making information more accessible and collaboration more efficient, ultimately enriching my overall educational experience. A friend who is very different from me is better because they bring diverse perspectives and experiences into my life, enriching my understanding of the world. For example, a friend with a different cultural background can introduce me to new traditions, cuisines, and viewpoints, fostering personal growth and open-mindedness. I prefer such friendships because they challenge my thinking and prevent stagnation, making interactions more stimulating and rewarding. Moreover, contrasting strengths and weaknesses can complement each other, creating a balanced and supportive dynamic. This diversity not only enhances personal development, but also leads to a more fulfilling and enriching friendship. I agree with the statement that people should be fined when they do not wear masks during a pandemic. Implementing fines serves as a crucial deterrent, encouraging compliance with public health measures. Masks have been scientifically proven to reduce the transmission of airborne diseases, protecting both the wearer and those around them. By enforcing mask mandates with financial penalties, authorities can significantly enhance community safety and reduce the burden on healthcare systems. Furthermore, fines reinforce the collective responsibility we share in mitigating the spread of the virus, emphasizing the importance of individual actions in safeguarding public health. I believe the best way to learn about a new campus is through a personal tour given by a second-year student. This option offers a unique blend of personalization and expertise, providing insights that a map or group tour might overlook. A second-year student can tailor the tour to my specific interests and needs, pointing out hidden gems and offering practical advice based on their own experiences. This one-on-one interaction fosters a more engaging and informative exploration of the campus, enabling me to ask questions freely and receive immediate, relevant answers. Additionally, it allows for the formation of a personal connection, which can be invaluable in easing the transition into a new university environment. I believe that students should take a year off between high school and starting college. This gap year can provide invaluable experiences that enhance personal growth, maturity, and readiness for higher education. For instance, students can travel, volunteer, or work, gaining real-world experience and developing important life skills such as independence and responsibility. These experiences can also help students gain a clearer sense of their career goals and academic interests, making them more focused and motivated when they eventually start college. Additionally, a gap year can prevent burnout from continuous studying, allowing students to start their college journey with renewed energy and enthusiasm. I strongly agree that it is essential for young people to learn domestic skills such as cooking, sewing, and taking care of children. These skills foster independence and self-sufficiency, equipping individuals to manage daily life effectively. Cooking promotes healthy eating habits and financial savings, while sewing cultivates creativity and resourcefulness. Childcare skills, on the other hand, teach empathy, responsibility, and the complexities of nurturing. In an increasingly fast-paced world, these competencies also offer a sense of stability and practicality, ensuring that young people are well prepared for both personal and familial responsibilities, ultimately contributing to well-rounded, capable adults. I disagree with the statement that only digital textbooks should be available for university students. While digital textbooks offer undeniable advantages such as portability, search functionality, and often lower costs, they also come with significant drawbacks. For instance, prolonged screen time can lead to eye strain and reduced comprehension and retention of material compared to printed books. Moreover, digital textbooks can exacerbate the digital divide, disadvantaging students who lack reliable access to electronic devices or the internet. Additionally, printed textbooks provide a tactile learning experience that many students find beneficial for deep learning and annotation. Therefore, a hybrid approach, offering both digital and printed textbooks, would better cater to diverse learning preferences and needs. I agree with the statement that every country should be required to reduce its carbon emissions by at least 25%. This is essential for mitigating climate change and ensuring a sustainable future. Firstly, scientific evidence shows that human activities, particularly fossil fuel consumption, are driving climate change. Reducing carbon emissions globally can slow down the adverse effects, such as extreme weather and rising sea levels. Secondly, a universal reduction promotes global equity. While developed nations have historically contributed more to emissions, developing countries are often the most vulnerable to climate impacts. A shared commitment ensures that all nations take responsibility, fostering international cooperation. Lastly, this mandate can stimulate innovation and economic growth. The shift to a low-carbon economy requires advancements in renewable energy and sustainable practices, creating new industries and job opportunities. In conclusion, a 25% reduction in carbon emissions is crucial for addressing climate change, promoting fairness, and driving economic growth. Global cooperation in this effort is essential for a sustainable future. I disagree with the statement that robots will replace a majority of jobs in the next decade. While technological advancements in robotics and artificial intelligence are rapidly evolving, the complete displacement of human labor is improbable. Robots excel at repetitive and precise tasks, yet they lack the nuanced understanding and emotional intelligence necessary for roles requiring creativity, critical thinking, and interpersonal skills. Jobs in healthcare, education, and the arts, for example, necessitate a human touch that machines cannot replicate. Furthermore, new industries and job opportunities will emerge as technology progresses, potentially offsetting job losses in traditional sectors. Therefore, rather than witnessing a majority job replacement, we are likely to experience a transformation in the job market where humans and robots coexist and complement each other. I strongly disagree with the statement that students should never ask someone else to help them grammatically correct their research papers. Seeking assistance in grammatical correction is an essential part of the learning process, as it helps students improve their writing skills and produce more polished professional work. Research papers require clarity and precision, and grammatical errors can obscure the intended message, diminishing the paper's overall quality. Additionally, collaboration and feedback are integral to academic growth. By asking for help, students can gain valuable insights, learn from their mistakes, and ultimately enhance their mastery of the language. Thus, enlisting grammatical assistance not only improves individual papers, but also contributes to the student's long-term academic development. I disagree with the statement that students should face tuition increases to maintain library research facilities. Firstly, higher tuition can place an undue financial burden on students, potentially deterring access to education. Secondly, universities should explore alternative funding methods, such as alumni donations or government grants, to support these essential resources. Furthermore, enhancing digital resources and collaboration with other institutions can provide cost-effective solutions for maintaining and even expanding research capabilities. Thus, increasing tuition is not a sustainable or fair approach to ensuring the quality of library research facilities. I firmly disagree with the statement that people who sell illegal drugs should not be sentenced to prison. The distribution of illegal drugs poses significant threats to public health and safety, fostering addiction, crime, and social instability. Sentencing drug dealers to prison serves as a deterrent, demonstrating that society will not tolerate such harmful activities. Additionally, incarceration provides an opportunity for rehabilitation, potentially reducing recidivism. While addressing the root causes of drug abuse and improving social support systems are crucial, the criminal justice system must hold individuals accountable for the deliberate harm they inflict on communities through the illegal drug trade. I disagree with the statement that children should not be allowed to play video games. Video games, when played in moderation, can offer significant benefits to children. They can enhance cognitive skills such as problem solving, spatial awareness, and strategic thinking. Many games encourage teamwork and communication, fostering social skills in a collaborative environment. Furthermore, educational games can be a fun and engaging way to reinforce learning in subjects like math, science, and languages. However, it is crucial to ensure that children have a balanced lifestyle, including physical activities and social interactions, and that the content of the games is age-appropriate. Therefore, rather than banning video games entirely, parents should guide and monitor their children's gaming habits to maximize the positive aspects while minimizing potential negatives. I firmly agree that gasoline-powered cars should be replaced with electric-powered cars. Firstly, the environmental benefits are substantial. Electric cars produce zero tailpipe emissions, significantly reducing air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions, which are critical in combating climate change. Secondly, electric vehicles, EVs, are more cost-effective in the long run. Despite higher upfront costs, EVs have lower operating and maintenance expenses due to fewer moving parts and the cheaper cost of electricity compared to gasoline. Lastly, advancements in technology are making EVs increasingly viable. Improvements in battery life and charging infrastructure are addressing range anxiety and convenience concerns, making the transition to electric cars a practical and beneficial choice for individuals and society as a whole. I disagree with the statement that countries should no longer be allowed to sell sugary drinks such as Coca-Cola and Pepsi. While the health risks associated with sugary drinks are well documented, outright banning them would infringe on personal freedoms and economic interests. Individuals should have the autonomy to make their own dietary choices, and it is the role of public health campaigns to educate rather than impose. Furthermore, the soft drink industry provides significant employment and economic benefits. A more balanced approach would involve stricter regulations on marketing to children, clearer labeling, and promoting healthier alternatives rather than a complete prohibition. I agree with the statement that there is such a thing as love at first sight. This phenomenon is rooted in the powerful and instantaneous connections that can occur between individuals. When meeting someone for the first time, our brains rapidly process visual cues, body language, and even subtle pheromones, which can trigger a profound emotional response. For instance, a smile, a shared laugh, or an engaging conversation can create a sense of familiarity and attraction that feels like the spark of love. While this initial reaction may evolve or change over time, the intensity of that first impression can lay the foundation for a deeper emotional bond. I disagree with the statement that college students should not be required to take general education courses. Firstly, general education courses provide a well-rounded education, exposing students to a variety of disciplines beyond their major. This breadth of knowledge fosters critical thinking and adaptability, which are essential skills in an ever-changing job market. Secondly, these courses often help students discover new interests and potential career paths they might not have considered otherwise. For example, a student majoring in engineering might find a passion for philosophy through a required humanities course. Lastly, general education courses promote a more informed and engaged citizenry. Understanding diverse subjects, from history to science, equips students to make more thoughtful decisions in their personal and professional lives. Therefore, general education is a crucial component of higher education, contributing to the development of well-rounded, versatile individuals. I disagree with the statement that politicians should only be allowed to serve one term of 2 to 4 years. Limiting politicians to a single term can undermine the continuity and stability of governance. Effective policymaking often requires time to implement and see through complex initiatives. Experienced politicians can leverage their understanding of the political landscape, build valuable relationships, and navigate bureaucratic challenges more effectively than newcomers. Moreover, the threat of not being re-elected serves as a powerful incentive for politicians to be accountable to their constituents. By allowing multiple terms, we can foster seasoned leadership while still maintaining the checks and balances essential to a democratic system. I wholeheartedly agree with the statement that honesty is the most important trait in a friend. At the core of any meaningful relationship lies trust, and trust is fundamentally built on a foundation of honesty. When a friend is honest, it fosters an environment where individuals feel safe to share their thoughts and emotions without fear of judgment or deceit. Moreover, honesty paves the way for effective communication, ensuring that misunderstandings are minimized and conflicts are resolved swiftly. For instance, an honest friend will provide genuine feedback, which, although sometimes difficult to hear, is invaluable for personal growth and development. Conversely, dishonesty can lead to a cascade of mistrust and resentment, ultimately eroding the very essence of friendship. Thus, while other traits like loyalty and empathy are significant, they are inherently supported and amplified by the presence of honesty, making it the cornerstone of a truly enduring and fulfilling friendship. I disagree with the statement that children should not be allowed to use virtual reality (VR) headsets. While concerns about content appropriateness and physical effects are valid, VR can offer significant educational and developmental benefits. For instance, immersive VR experiences can enhance learning by allowing children to explore historical events or scientific concepts in an engaging, interactive manner, fostering better retention and understanding. Moreover, VR can develop fine motor skills and spatial awareness through interactive games and simulations. To mitigate risks, parental supervision and content restrictions can ensure children only access age-appropriate and educational materials, turning VR into a powerful tool for both education and entertainment. I firmly agree that all workers should have a guaranteed living wage, irrespective of their skill levels. Fundamentally, a living wage ensures that individuals can afford basic necessities such as housing, food, and healthcare, fostering a more equitable society. This financial stability can enhance overall productivity as workers are less burdened by financial stress, enabling them to focus better on their tasks. Moreover, a guaranteed living wage can stimulate the economy by increasing consumer spending, as individuals have more disposable income. On a broader scale, this approach can reduce poverty rates and diminish income inequality, fostering a healthier, more stable social fabric. In essence, ensuring a living wage for all workers is not just a matter of economic justice, but also a strategic investment in societal well-being and economic stability. I agree that writing essays is an effective way to gauge students' knowledge. Essays require students to not only recall information, but also to synthesize and analyze it, demonstrating a deeper understanding of the subject matter. Unlike multiple-choice tests, essays demand critical thinking and the ability to articulate thoughts coherently. Furthermore, writing essays helps develop essential skills such as argumentation, organization, and clarity of expression. For instance, in a history essay, a student must evaluate sources, form a thesis, and support it with evidence, showcasing their comprehensive grasp of the topic. Therefore, essays are valuable in assessing students' intellectual abilities and depth of knowledge. I agree with the statement that online learning is more effective than traditional classroom learning. Online learning offers unparalleled flexibility, allowing students to access materials and complete coursework at their own pace, which accommodates various learning styles and schedules. Furthermore, the vast array of resources available online, such as interactive simulations, video lectures, and discussion forums, enhances the learning experience by providing diverse and engaging content. Online platforms also facilitate personalized learning with adaptive technologies that tailor educational materials to individual needs, leading to improved comprehension and retention. Additionally, online learning fosters self-discipline and time management skills, crucial competencies in today's fast-paced world. However, it is essential to acknowledge that the effectiveness of online learning depends on the learner's self-motivation and the quality of the instructional design. I disagree with the statement that teenagers should not be allowed to watch movies with violence and sex. While it's essential to acknowledge that excessive exposure to these themes can have detrimental effects, outright prohibition is neither practical nor beneficial. Firstly, teenagers are often exposed to violence and sex through various mediums beyond films, such as social media, news, and even literature. Shielding them entirely from these realities is unrealistic and can lead to a lack of preparedness for real-world situations. Secondly, films that include violence and sex can serve as critical tools for education and discussion. When viewed with parental guidance or within an educational context, these movies can help teenagers understand complex human behaviors, moral dilemmas, and the consequences of actions. They provide a platform for discussing boundaries, consent, and the impact of violence, which are crucial for their development into informed and responsible adults. Lastly, censorship of such content can undermine artistic freedom and the diversity of storytelling. Many films that contain these themes are critically acclaimed for their artistic merit and social commentary. For instance, movies like Schindler's List or 12 Years a Slave include violent scenes but are invaluable for their historical and educational value. Therefore, rather than imposing blanket bans, a balanced approach involving age-appropriate content ratings, parental involvement, and media literacy education is more effective in ensuring teenagers can navigate and interpret these themes responsibly. I agree with the statement that all countries, including the US, Russia, and China, should not be allowed to possess nuclear weapons. The primary rationale for this stance is the inherent danger and catastrophic potential these weapons hold. The existence of nuclear arsenals perpetuates a cycle of fear and mutual distrust among nations, increasing the risk of accidental or intentional deployment. Additionally, the environmental and humanitarian consequences of nuclear warfare are unparalleled, leading to massive loss of life, long-term ecological damage, and global socio-economic disruption. A world without nuclear weapons would significantly reduce these existential risks and promote global stability. For example, the disarmament efforts of the late 20th century, such as the Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, START, showcase the potential for significant de-escalation and trust building. By collectively moving towards complete nuclear disarmament, nations can focus on addressing more pressing global challenges like climate change and poverty, fostering a safer and more cooperative international community. I disagree with the statement that teachers' pay should be based on how much their students are learning. This approach oversimplifies the complexities of education and places undue pressure on both teachers and students. Firstly, learning is a multifaceted process influenced by numerous factors beyond a teacher's control, such as socioeconomic background, parental involvement, and individual student capabilities. Tying pay to student performance can inadvertently encourage teaching to the test, where educators focus solely on exam results rather than fostering a deeper understanding of the material and critical thinking skills. Furthermore, this system could demoralize teachers who work in underprivileged areas where students face greater challenges outside the classroom. These educators often put in extraordinary effort and dedication, but their students' progress might not reflect this due to external circumstances. A performance-based pay system could deter talented teachers from working in these high-need areas, exacerbating educational inequities. Instead, a more holistic approach to evaluating and compensating teachers should be considered, one that includes peer reviews, classroom observations, and professional development achievements. This would provide a more comprehensive assessment of a teacher's effectiveness and contribution to their students' education. I respectfully disagree with the statement that people older than 65 years of age should not be allowed to drive. First, it is important to recognize that age alone is not an accurate predictor of driving ability. Many individuals over the age of 65 maintain sharp cognitive functions, quick reflexes, and overall good health, which enable them to drive safely. Implementing a blanket ban based solely on age would be discriminatory and unjust. Moreover, driving is often crucial for the independence and mobility of older adults. It enables them to maintain their social connections, attend medical appointments, and engage in community activities, all of which contribute to their overall well-being and quality of life. Removing this independence could lead to increased isolation and mental health issues among seniors. Additionally, advancements in vehicle safety technology, such as adaptive cruise control and collision avoidance systems, can assist older drivers in navigating the roads more safely. Regular assessments of driving skills and health conditions, rather than an age-based ban, would be a more effective and equitable approach. This ensures that only those who are truly unfit to drive are restricted, regardless of their age. I disagree with the statement that libraries should be replaced by digital texts. While digital texts offer undeniable convenience and accessibility, libraries hold intrinsic value that extends far beyond the mere availability of books. Libraries serve as community hubs, providing a space for individuals to gather, learn, and engage in intellectual discourse. They offer access to a plethora of resources, including rare and historical texts that may not be digitized, and provide a quiet, distraction-free environment conducive to focused study and research. Moreover, libraries offer programs and services that cater to diverse populations, such as literacy programs, tutoring, and workshops, which are integral to community development and personal growth. The tactile experience of handling physical books and the serendipity of discovering unexpected resources while browsing shelves cannot be replicated in the digital realm. Additionally, not all individuals have equal access to digital devices or the internet, making libraries an essential resource for bridging the digital divide. They provide free access to technology, helping to ensure that information and knowledge are accessible to all, regardless of socioeconomic status. In conclusion, while digital texts are a valuable resource, they should complement, not replace, libraries. The multifaceted role of libraries in fostering community, providing equitable access to information, and supporting lifelong learning underscores their irreplaceable significance in society. I agree that more money should be allocated to libraries, rather than university sports programs. Libraries serve as the intellectual heart of a university, providing essential resources for academic growth, research, and critical thinking. They offer access to a vast array of books, journals, and digital resources that are indispensable for students and faculty across all disciplines. Libraries are also inclusive spaces where students from diverse backgrounds can find the tools they need to succeed academically, regardless of their economic status. In contrast, university sports programs, while valuable for promoting physical health and school spirit, often benefit a smaller, more selective group of students. The focus on athletics can sometimes divert attention and resources away from academic pursuits, leading to an imbalance in the university's core mission of education and intellectual development. Furthermore, investing in libraries supports long-term academic success and innovation. It fosters a culture of learning and inquiry that extends beyond graduation, equipping students with the knowledge and skills necessary to excel in their future careers. Therefore, prioritizing funding for libraries ensures that the university remains a place of learning and discovery, benefiting the entire student body and faculty. I agree with the statement that solar power is a more useful form of energy than wind power, primarily due to its versatility, consistency, and accessibility. Solar energy can be harnessed virtually anywhere in the world, making it accessible even in remote or urban areas where wind resources might be insufficient. Unlike wind power, which requires large turbines and specific geographical conditions, solar panels can be installed on rooftops, in parking lots, or even integrated into building materials, making it highly adaptable to different environments. Moreover, solar energy is more consistent and predictable than wind power. While wind patterns can be erratic and dependent on local geography, sunlight is generally more reliable, especially in regions with high solar insolation. This consistency is crucial for ensuring a stable energy supply, particularly for residential and commercial uses. Additionally, solar technology has seen significant advancements in efficiency and cost reduction, making it increasingly competitive and accessible to a broader population. While wind power certainly has its advantages, particularly in large-scale energy production, I believe solar power's adaptability and reliability make it a more useful form of renewable energy in many contexts. I respectfully disagree with the statement that it is always better to have arranged marriages, where parents determine who their sons and daughters marry. While arranged marriages can be successful and are deeply rooted in certain cultural traditions, I believe that the choice of a life partner should ultimately rest with the individuals involved. Marriage is a deeply personal commitment, and the foundation of a successful marriage often lies in mutual love, understanding, and shared values. These elements are best discovered and nurtured through personal experience and emotional connection, which might not be fully realized if the decision is made solely by parents. Furthermore, allowing individuals to choose their own partners empowers them to take responsibility for their decisions and fosters a sense of independence and maturity. That said, I acknowledge that parents can offer valuable guidance and wisdom, given their life experience. However, I believe their role should be advisory rather than decisive, allowing their children to make choices that align with their own values and desires. I partially disagree with the statement that one should never tell a lie, regardless of the circumstances. While honesty is undoubtedly a cornerstone of ethical behavior and trust in any society, there are situations where telling the truth could result in harm, and in such cases, a lie may serve a greater moral purpose. For instance, consider a scenario where a lie could save a life or protect someone from unjust harm, such as lying to protect a victim of domestic violence from their abuser. In such cases, the ethical duty to protect human life and well-being may outweigh the abstract principle of truth-telling. Moreover, in social contexts, small, harmless lies, often referred to as white lies, can sometimes prevent unnecessary hurt or maintain social harmony. For example, telling a friend that their poorly executed presentation was fine to spare their feelings when no constructive purpose would be served by blunt honesty. Therefore, while truth should generally be upheld, there are nuanced situations where lying may be ethically justifiable. I agree with the statement that countries should allocate more resources to helping the poor rather than exploring outer space. While the exploration of space is undoubtedly important for the advancement of human knowledge and technology, it is crucial to address pressing issues on Earth first. Poverty remains a significant global challenge, with millions lacking basic necessities such as food, clean water, healthcare, and education. Prioritizing these needs could lead to a more equitable and just society, fostering stability and economic growth. Furthermore, the moral imperative to support those in dire circumstances outweighs the potential benefits of space exploration. Addressing poverty not only alleviates human suffering, but also creates a foundation upon which future generations can build, potentially even enhancing our ability to explore space more effectively in the long term. Therefore, while space exploration has its merits, the immediate needs of the poor should take precedence. Personally, I have a distinct preference for studying in a library, primarily due to the conducive environment it offers, which is tailored specifically for learning and academic pursuits. Libraries provide a sanctuary of quietude and discipline that is often lacking in the home environment. This structured setting inherently minimizes distractions, such as household chores or the lure of leisure activities, which can divert attention away from study tasks. Additionally, the presence of other students engaged in their studies serves as a silent motivator, reinforcing my own focus and commitment to my work. Moreover, libraries are treasure troves of resources. Access to extensive databases, scholarly journals, and a variety of books can profoundly enhance the depth and breadth of one's research. The ability to consult print materials, which may not be readily available online, adds a layer of depth to research that digital resources cannot always replicate. Furthermore, the physical act of retrieving books from shelves, scanning through pages, and taking handwritten notes can significantly aid in the retention of information, embedding knowledge more deeply than digital interactions often do. In summary, while the convenience of home cannot be underestimated, the array of resources and the focused atmosphere of a library make it my preferred place for academic study, optimizing both the efficiency and the quality of my learning process. When it comes to exercise, I unequivocally prefer running to walking, primarily for its cardiovascular benefits and efficiency. Running is a vigorous intensity exercise that significantly elevates the heart rate, enhancing aerobic capacity and improving overall cardiovascular health. The heightened exertion of running also means that it burns calories at a much faster rate than walking, making it an excellent option for weight management and fat loss. This is particularly beneficial for those with limited time who wish to maximize the health benefits of their exercise regimen. Furthermore, running contributes to improved muscle strength and endurance, particularly in the lower body, and it stimulates the release of endorphins, often referred to as the runner's high, which can elevate mood and combat stress. The psychological benefits of running are as compelling as the physical ones, providing a mental escape as one navigates through varying landscapes or pushes the limits of personal endurance. While walking is certainly a gentler alternative that is suitable for all ages and fitness levels, the robust intensity and efficiency of running make it my preferred choice for exercise. It not only serves my physical health needs, but also provides a mental clarity and resilience that supports my overall well-being. When it comes to traveling distances of 500 to 1,000 kilometers, I personally prefer taking the train over flying. While airplanes are undoubtedly faster, the experience of traveling by train offers several unique advantages that I find appealing. For instance, trains provide a more relaxed and comfortable environment, allowing passengers to enjoy scenic views, read a book, or even work without the interruptions that come with air travel, such as long security lines and frequent turbulence. Moreover, train stations are typically located in the heart of cities, making it more convenient to reach your final destination without the need for additional transportation. On a recent trip from Paris to Amsterdam, I chose the train and appreciated the seamless journey, which allowed me to arrive refreshed and directly in the city center. This combination of convenience, comfort, and a more enjoyable travel experience makes trains my preferred mode of transportation for medium-distance trips. I personally prefer indoor jobs, particularly those that involve intellectual challenges and problem solving, like being a lawyer or an accountant. The structured environment of an office suits my personality, allowing me to focus on tasks that require deep concentration, analysis, and strategic thinking. For instance, in a legal profession, the ability to research complex cases, draft compelling arguments, and negotiate effectively appeals to my strengths in communication and critical thinking. Additionally, the stability and predictability of working indoors provide a sense of security and comfort, which is important to me. While I appreciate the dynamic nature of outdoor jobs, I find that the controlled environment of indoor work allows me to thrive and maximize my potential. When it comes to spending my free time, I generally prefer to spend it alone. This preference stems from the fact that solitude offers me a unique opportunity for introspection and personal growth, allowing me to recharge and engage in activities that deeply resonate with my interests, such as reading or creative writing. While I certainly enjoy socializing with friends and value those connections, I find that spending time alone provides a balance in my life, helping me maintain my mental clarity and emotional well-being. It's during these solitary moments that I can truly unwind and feel most at peace.
The debate between online education and traditional classroom learning hinges on personal preferences and needs. However, traditional classroom learning offers significant advantages. The direct interaction with instructors and peers in a classroom fosters dynamic discussions, critical thinking, and immediate feedback, which enrich the learning experience. The structured environment helps students develop discipline and time management, while hands-on subjects like science or the arts benefit from in-person instruction. Although online education provides flexibility, it can lack the depth and engagement of traditional learning, making the latter a superior choice for most students seeking a comprehensive education. The proposal in the article suggests adding evening computer classes to address the issue of overcrowded daytime classes and insufficient computer availability. The goal is to reduce the number of students enrolled during the day, ensuring that each student has access to a computer. However, the man disagrees with this proposal, arguing that it will not effectively solve the problem. He believes that students are generally too busy in the evenings due to jobs, family obligations, and other commitments, making it unlikely that many will attend night classes. Furthermore, he criticizes the financial aspect of the proposal, pointing out that the expense of hiring more teachers and keeping buildings open later outweighs the benefits. Instead, he suggests that the department should invest in purchasing more computers, as prices have significantly decreased, making this a more cost-effective solution. He also notes that the existing classrooms have ample space to accommodate additional computers, which would directly address the issue of overcrowding. The examples from the professor's lecture clearly illustrate the relationship between verbal and nonverbal communication. In the first example, when the professor's uncle visited, his verbal and nonverbal cues aligned perfectly. He expressed happiness verbally by saying, "Uncle Pete, what a surprise. How nice to see you." While his nonverbal cues, such as his wide eyes, big smile, and even jumping up and down, reinforced that joy. This congruence made his uncle feel genuinely welcomed. On the other hand, in the second example, when the professor injured his thumb, his verbal message, "Don't worry, honey, it's nothing," conflicted with his nonverbal cues, which included a contorted face and trembling voice, signaling pain. Despite his words, his daughter likely sensed his discomfort because his nonverbal cues conveyed the truth. These examples demonstrate how nonverbal communication can either reinforce or undermine the verbal message, often revealing more than words alone. Visual elements are essential in painting because they are the key tools artists use to communicate meaning and evoke emotions. The lecture highlights how components like color, texture, shape, and line come together to create a specific mood or convey a message. For example, color is a powerful element. Red can evoke intense emotions like excitement or anger, while blue tends to be calming. Texture also plays a significant role. It can be physical or visual, influencing how a painting is perceived emotionally. A rough texture might suggest strength or intensity, whereas a smooth texture often conveys calmness and serenity. By carefully combining these elements, artists can create a painting that communicates on a deeper level. A work featuring strong colors and rough brushstrokes might convey a sense of wildness, while one with soft colors and smooth lines might evoke tranquility. These visual elements enable the artist to create an emotionally resonant experience, making the painting not just an image but a profound expression of emotion and thought. I disagree with the statement that studying math or science is more important than studying art or literature. While math and science are vital for technological, medical, and economic progress, art and literature deepen our understanding of human experience, culture, and diverse perspectives. They nurture creativity, empathy, and critical thinking, skills that are crucial for innovation and complex problem solving. For example, many scientific breakthroughs, like the theory of relativity, were born from imaginative thinking. A well-rounded education that embraces both areas fosters versatile individuals capable of driving change and understanding the world holistically. The university has announced the creation of the Campus Dining Club, which will transform the dining hall into a special venue for 1 week at the end of each semester. During this period, culinary arts students will prepare gourmet meals, providing them with valuable real-world experience in cooking for larger groups under pressure. To cover the cost of high-quality ingredients, the university will charge a small additional fee for these dinners. The man in the conversation is supportive of the plan. He believes it is a great idea because it offers practical experience to the culinary students that they wouldn't get just by cooking in class. He explains that cooking for many people in a real dining environment is much more challenging than cooking in a classroom setting, as it involves dealing with pressure and time constraints. He also justifies the additional fee by comparing it to the cost of dining at fancy restaurants in town, noting that the meals will be of high quality but much cheaper than those at local upscale restaurants, making it worth the cost. Target marketing is an advertising technique that focuses on specific groups of potential customers rather than a broad audience. The professor provides a compelling example of how companies tailor their commercials to different demographics to illustrate this approach. For instance, when a company wants to sell a cell phone, it will create different advertisements depending on the audience watching a particular television program. During shows popular with young people, like those featuring pop music or teen dramas, the commercial emphasizes the phone's fun aspects, such as bright colors and social experiences, to appeal to their lifestyle. Conversely, for programs aimed at business professionals, the advertisement focuses on the phone's efficiency, ability to handle business tasks, and cost-saving potential. Although the product remains the same, the marketing message is adapted to resonate with different groups' specific needs and desires. This strategy illustrates the core of target marketing, customizing the appeal to match the values and interests of distinct consumer segments to increase the likelihood of purchase. The professor in the lecture explains two distinct types of motivation: extrinsic and intrinsic. Extrinsic motivation is driven by external rewards, such as money, praise, or other tangible benefits. The professor illustrates this with the example of a child who performs household chores not out of enjoyment, but because she receives money as a reward. This type of motivation is dependent on the continued presence of external incentives. If these incentives disappear, the motivation to perform the activity likely diminishes as well. In contrast, intrinsic motivation comes from within and is fueled by personal satisfaction, enjoyment, or a sense of accomplishment. This form of motivation is generally more enduring because it is not reliant on external factors. For instance, the professor describes his regular gym routine, not because he is preparing for a specific event, but because he genuinely enjoys exercising. The benefits, such as increased energy and improved health, provide him with an internal sense of fulfillment. This intrinsic motivation has sustained his commitment to exercise for 5 years. Therefore, while both types of motivation drive behavior, intrinsic motivation is often considered more sustainable over time due to its internal nature. While sticking to one career throughout life offers stability, pursuing different kinds of work at various points is often more advantageous in today's dynamic world. Diversifying career paths fosters adaptability and resilience, skills highly valued in an ever-evolving job market. Engaging in varied work experiences allows individuals to acquire a broader skill set, enhancing creativity and problem-solving abilities. It also prevents career stagnation, offering continuous personal and professional growth. Moreover, shifting careers can align work with changing passions and life circumstances, leading to greater fulfillment. This flexibility not only keeps individuals motivated, but also opens doors to unforeseen opportunities, making the pursuit of multiple careers more enriching and aligned with the evolving nature of work and personal aspirations. The woman strongly disagrees with Tim's proposal to shorten history seminars from 3 hours to 2. She believes that Tim's suggestion does not accurately reflect the needs of the average student, and that it is based more on his personal habits, rather than an objective assessment of the seminar structure. According to the woman, Tim struggles to pay attention in class not because of the seminar's length, but because of his lifestyle choices. She highlights that Tim frequently stays up late partying, even on weeknights, which affects his ability to concentrate during long classes. She points out that this is not typical behavior among students. Most come to class prepared, well-rested, and ready to engage. The woman further supports her argument by noting that Tim's observations are biased by his own lack of attentiveness. She recalls that Tim was often seen sleeping during seminars, indicating that he wasn't fully aware of class activities, especially during key moments. She argues that the last hour of the seminar, which Tim views as ineffective, is actually when discussions become the most engaging and intellectually stimulating. In discussing the phenomenon of implicit memory, the example of the car advertisement on a highway billboard provides a compelling illustration. Implicit memory refers to the retention of information without conscious awareness or intention. Unlike explicit memory, which involves deliberate recall of specific details like events or facts, implicit memory operates subconsciously. This distinction becomes apparent in the billboard scenario described in the lecture. Here, drivers pass a billboard advertising a car named Panther, but later, when queried, cannot recall seeing advertisements for cars. Despite their lack of conscious recollection, when asked to name an animal starting with the letter P, many bypass the more common pig and instead respond with panther. This response suggests that the advertisement has subtly influenced their memory. The billboard's impact exemplifies how implicit memory can shape our preferences and perceptions without our direct conscious involvement. This type of memory is fundamental in areas like marketing, where exposure to stimuli aims to influence behavior subtly, illustrating the powerful yet covert role of implicit memory in shaping human behavior.